Ladies and gentlemen, performing the U.S. national anthem, singer, songwriter, and actress, Michelle Williams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And now, to perform God Save the Queen, please welcome the nation's sporting soprano, Laura Wright.
God save the gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen, Santa victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the
What a night here in London. The 11th NFL regular season game here at Wembley. 48 degrees, clear skies. Before we get started, down to the pitch. And Tony Siragusa. Goose.
Thanks, Kenny. I got an opportunity during warm-ups to talk with Tony Romo, and he told me, you know, his decision to play today was simply based on back-to-back losses. He thought this team has definitely lost the momentum it had earlier, and he said that we need this game, especially going into the bye week. Now, this is not going to be an easy task. You got Jacksonville, number 3 in the NFL in sacks. So this Dallas offensive line is going to have their work cut out for them today.
All right, Goose, back-to-back losses for Jason Garrett's Cowboys to the Redskins and Arizona last week, with Brandon Weeden starting for the injured Tony Romo. Cowboys have never lost 3 straight in Garrett's tenure. Across the way, Gus Bradley in his second season as Jaguars head coach. Jacksonville with a record of 1-8, their only victory 3 weeks ago over the Cleveland Browns. Third NFL game this season here at Wembley. 11th all-time. First regular season game outside the U.S. for the Cowboys. Jaguars played here in London last year, and they lead the all-time series 3-2. Jacksonville won the toss, elected to defer, so Josh Scobie will get things started. And we are underway here in London. Coming out of the end zone, Dwayne Harris. Harris out to the 20-yard line as Tony Romo makes his return, leading the Cowboys offense onto the field.
One of the things you had to worry about really was the long plane flight over here and then returning back to Dallas after the game. And Tony Romo told us that it was not an issue, actually slept for 6 hours. So that would have been one of my top concerns coming over here to play this game. But it's such an important thing. And a lot of this decision for him to come out here and play today is a result of how they played against the Arizona Cardinals offensively.
Tony told us yesterday he got 6 hours sleep on the flight from Dallas to London on Monday, 4,745 miles. On first down, Romo hands it off to the NFL's leading rusher, DeMarco Murray. Murray all the way out to the 43-yard line, finally forced out of bounds by Jonathan Cyprien, 23 yards. On the first play from scrimmage.
And there's a great sign right there. We've talked about Tony Romo being in the lineup, but Ronald Leary and Doug Free back in the lineup on that offensive line opened up a big hole for DeMarco Murray right there. Dez Bryant has to start becoming more productive. You've got to get him the ball. Jason Garrett said it's one of their top priorities to get him involved in the game. Only 5 receptions the last 2 games for 45 yards.
3 wide receivers set, 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line as Romo sets up the screen. It's Murray again, and he has another first down to the Jacksonville 40.
This is a young team, and you're going to have some mistakes right there, but one of the things that's going to happen is this defensive line is going to have to play well today. Roy Miller, Derek Marks, they're going to have to battle against that very good offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. We've already seen in the start of the game today, the big hole in the first play in the running game, athletic and down the field on the screen.
40 yards for Murray on the first 2 plays, 23-yard run, 17-yard catch and run. 1st and 10 from the Jaguars 40. It is Murray, and this time he gains 3. Roy Miller along with Derek Marks on the tackle.
And obviously one of the first things we're going to do here in the beginning of the game is watch the mobility of Tony Romo. And Jason Garrett said it's not so much his ability to manage the amount of pain. I think Tony Romo has shown everybody he's a tough guy. Physically, he's a tough guy. It's the functionality at the quarterback position. Does he have any effects from that injury?
Sacked 5 times at his last start. The loss to the Redskins 2 weeks ago on 2nd and 7. This is Murray. And this time he gains just 1 down to the 36-yard line. Dez Bryant made the tackle, setting up a 3rd down and 6.
And one of the things you want to do to make sure that Tony Romo stays healthy this afternoon is to stay in that manageable 3rd down situation. Don't create obvious passing downs. The first couple of plays right there, big runs on 1st down. Here we go with the first opportunity for this Jaguars defense to maybe get some pressure on Tony Romo.
Cowboys best in the league on 3rd down this season, although they've struggled the last 2 weeks. Empty backfield. Cowboys must get to the Jaguars 30. Romo on 3rd down. Steps up, and now he throws just out of the reach of a wide open Jason Witten.
That offensive line did a nice job of giving Tony Romo protection there, Darryl.
Yeah, and Tony Romo's going to be disappointed with himself. He misses a wide open Jason Witten. They turn him loose right down the middle of the field and just a little overthrown.
So the Cowboys send out the field goal unit. Dan Bailey is 4 of 5 from 50-plus this season. This is a 54-yard attempt. And Bailey's kick is good, matching the longest ever field goal in an NFL game here at Wembley. First Blair Walsh of the Vikings, and now Bailey connects from 54 yards out.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Just about every NFL team represented in the stands here at Wembley.
It's one of the things that we've enjoyed. We've been able to come over here 3 times, and every time we come over, we do a search for all 32 teams, and we always find all 32 teams represented over here in London.
Good start for DeMarco Murray and the Cowboys. Lead 3-0. Jaguars will start from their 20-yard line. Led out to the field by the rookie out of Central Florida, 3rd overall draft pick, Blake Bortles, who will make his 7th NFL start.
Well, he had a nice game statistically last week, but one of the things I liked about Blake Bortles' response to, hey, how did you think you played last week in that game? I wasn't happy with it. I've got to be better than that. He's driven to be better. He's made some mistakes, but this is a very, very young Jacksonville Jaguar team. They have had a penchant to beat themselves early in the year, but they're starting to make that turn, playing their best football over the last 3 weeks.
Denard Robinson coming off 3 big weeks in the backfield off the fake. To Robinson. Bortles completes his first pass. It's the tight end Clay Harbor, dragged out of bounds by J.J. Wilcox, gain of 5.
And one of the things that's going to have to happen today for the Jacksonville Jaguars is this offensive line is going to have to open some running lanes for Denard Robinson. And Denard Robinson is only second to DeMarco Murray over the last 3 weeks in rushing yards. So it's been a big part of their game to jumpstart this offense.
Back-to-back 100-yard games with a 94 for Robinson last week against the Bengals. On 2nd and 5, this is Robinson, the former quarterback at the University of Michigan, out to the 27. Anthony Hitchens, the tackle, 3rd down and 3.
Anthony Hitchens making the tackle there, but Rolando McClain is in the lineup this afternoon, and that's a big deal for the Dallas Cowboys defense. If there's a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball, it's going to be Rolando McClain. Anthony Hitchens gets the start of the inside, but he is there. We'll see if the Jaguars can challenge the Dallas Cowboys at that linebacker level.
Dallas without offensive end Tyrone Crawford. Empty backfield, 3rd down and 3. Toby Gerhart split wide to the left. And a big hit is made by Bruce Carter on Allen Robinson.
Very good physical hit on the outside. Jeff Heath, no. It's not Jeff Heath, it's actually Sterling Moore breaking off his coverage on the outside, recognizing the route underneath, and comes up, puts a big hit on Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson did a really nice job of going and finding that first down marker, though, to get the first down on that play.
He did. Forward progress out to the 30. So the Jaguars with a new set of downs. This is Denard Robinson. And Robinson out to the 32-yard line, setting up 2nd down and 8.
Blake Bortles gets his opportunity after a couple of games to start for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they had an open and honest conversation coming into the preseason. He didn't take a lot of snaps with the number ones through there, and all he wanted to do was become a part of the conversation once they got to training camp, and he accomplished that. And the coaching staff took a look at it. You get to a certain point of the season where you have to make that change with Chad Henne, and you feel it's time for young Blake Bortles to take the reins.
That is started the first 3 games. Jaguars lost all 3. Bortles on 2nd down, complete into Cowboys territory. It is Cecil Shorts who takes it to the Dallas 44-yard line, a 24-yard completion.
A big play right down into the middle of the field for Blake Bortles. The linebackers bite. It opens up that throwing lane over the top. Sterling Moore trailing in coverage.
From the Dallas 44, Bortles hit as he throws. Pass intended for Allen Robinson.
Little zone blitz off to the right side for the Dallas Cowboys. Picked up really well by that offense.
Now 2nd and 10 for Bortles and the Jaguars. Just over 6 minutes gone by here at Wembley, with the Cowboys leading 3-0.
Hey, easy. Hey, let's go rest. Rest.
And now Bortles calls timeout with the play clock all the way down to 1.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Jacksonville Jaguars offense ranked 30th in the league in yards, last in points per game. They are very young, especially at the skill positions.
Yeah, and they have the critical mistakes, the turnovers, the things that stop drives and prevent you from giving points.
Two tight end set, 2nd and 10 from the 44-yard line. This is Denard Robinson, and he picks up 4 down to the Cowboys 40, setting up 3rd down and 6.
But what a good story Denard Robinson is. You know, you're talking about, you know, the all-time leader in rushing yards in the college game, and you draft him, and you're trying to figure out what role he's going to do. You're going to bring him in as a kickoff returner, maybe some wild card packages or a slot receiver, and all of a sudden you start to see that explosive capability in the running game. He puts on some weight, and now he's become your big runner.
Over 4,400 yards on the ground, most ever by a collegiate quarterback. And now the Cowboys use their first timeout. Cowboys using their first timeout. We head to Los Angeles for a game break with Joel Klatt. Joel?
All right, Kenny, and we take you to New Orleans, where San Francisco on the board early. Frank Gore from 4 yards out. That's San Francisco's first rushing touchdown since September 21st. That's right. You heard me correctly. San Francisco up 7-0 over the Saints. Kenny, Moose, and Goose.
Thanks, Joel. Early lead for the 49ers, who have lost 2 straight. San Francisco at 4-4. Saints in first place in the NFL NFC South with a record of 4-4 as well. Third down and 6. Bortles to the outside, and the catch is made for a first down at the 32-yard line by Allen Robinson, gain of 8.
This is a nice throw by Blake Bortles. Some good zone coverage by the Dallas defense. Small window to fit this in. Watch the zip on this ball. This is a guy who, as a youngster, down in high school, didn't play a whole lot of football, didn't travel to the big camps across the country. Kind of started his football career later in life, and he's got some nice skills.
You got all those parents at home wondering why they're spending that money going to camps, and you got a guy that can throw like that.
How about Denard Robinson? He is inside the 10, the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown! 32-yard run. Denard Robinson, his 3rd touchdown of the season.
There's that explosive capability from the running back position that Denard Robinson has provided to this offense. You're going to watch just a straight running play to the right side, kick out by Will Taufo on the outside, and a nice cut by Denard Robinson back to the inside, and then beats everybody to the end zone.
That's a great cut right there. Nice job of putting the ball on the outside. And tell you what, he can do a lot of different things.
Good job, Luke Bowenko, getting down to that 2nd level, getting that push on Bruce Carter to spring Denard Robinson back inside.
Josh Scobie adds the extra point. So an 80-yard drive by the Jaguars. Robinson to the end zone. 7-3 Jacksonville.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Ford. Beautiful things happen when you go further. By K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Back in London, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa, 7-3 lead for the Jaguars. A 9-play, 80-yard drive, 2nd opening drive touchdown for Jacksonville this season. Dwight Harris takes a knee. Cowboys will start at their 20 following the 32-yard touchdown run by the Jaguars, Denard Robinson. Both teams scored on their opening drive. Cowboys field goal, Jaguars a touchdown. Romo 1 for 2 on the first Dallas possession. Cowboys Cowboys start from their 20. Off the fake to Murray. Romo goes across the field. And Murray takes it out to the 24.
And I think early on here you're seeing some good mobility from Tony Romo. And when I first heard the decision to bring Tony Romo over here to play the game in London, I was kind of against that. I thought they'd be better served leaving him back in Dallas, allowing him to rest for almost a full month before that next game against the Giants. But when you got over here and talked to Tony Romo and the Cowboy players, the sense of urgency they had about this game, you could see it on the opening drive by the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are playing their best football right now.
Yeah, he's a competitor, man. He wanted to come out here and he wanted to get this team back with all the momentum they had earlier in the season, and he knows that they dropped off a little bit with back-to-back losses, and he's just a competitor.
DeMarco Murray picks up a first down as he gains 9.
It's funny talking to Jason Garrett. You know, we've got to find a way to get the ball to 88. We've got to turn around and hand the ball to 29. And, you know, if you give him a lane where he does not have to shift or change direction, if it's a downhill running opportunity for DeMarco Murray, he's one of the more physical runners I've seen in the NFL this season.
Held under 100 yards by the Cardinals last Sunday for the first time this season. NFL record, 8 straight 100-yard games to begin the season. False start.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The left tackle, Tyron Smith.
And that's going to be one of the challenges for the Jacksonville Jaguar front, is making DeMarco Murray stop, change direction. When he gets going downhill, he gains momentum, he gains that confidence in the running game, and he's going to be tough to stop. Dez Bryant, Roy Miller, Senderick Marks, those big guys up front, clog those lanes, make him stop and change direction.
First and 15 following the penalty. From the 27, Romo, complete to Witten. And Witten's the other guy that Jason Garrett talked about. He's brought down by Cyprien. He said we have to get the ball to 88, 29, and of course 82.
Yeah, you've always got to find a way to get Jason Witten involved in your game plan, but, you know, for Jaguar fans, they know this player right here, number 37, Jonathan Cyprien, one of the really good young safeties in the NFL. This is textbook for all you young guys out there. This is old school. Driving the shoulder through, lifting the body up, and taking him down.
Witten able to gain just 3. Second down and 12. Romo handed it off to Murray. And Murray able to make something out of nothing. Takes it out to the 37-yard line, so it will be third down and 5, a gain of 7.
What a big opportunity for the Jacksonville Jaguars to create that third and long, that obvious passing situation where they could get after Tony Romo. But again, the strength of DeMarco Murray to break Chris Clements' tackle right there and then spin to the outside. And again, watch at the end. Just watch how physical he is when he's finishing those runs.
Murray replaced by Joseph Randle. Witten shifting, third down and 5.
Shallow.
Cowboys must get to the 42. Romo on third down. There is a flag, and the catch is made by the rookie out of Pitt. A spectacular catch made by Devin Street. But it looks like it's coming back.
You're going to watch at the top of this route. Devin Street's going to create separation.
Offense, number 15. 10-yard penalty, replay, third down.
He uses his hands to create separation to complete the catch.
So the offensive pass interference call on Street, second Cowboys penalty during this possession. It is now third down and 16.
Missed opportunities by this Dallas Cowboy team. Witten over the middle, the overthrow by Tony Romo, and then that penalty right there.
Now Lance Dunbar on the backfield. Third down and 16 for Tony Romo and the Cowboys. On the screen, it's Dunbar. Cowboys will punt it away. Keldon Smith on the tackle for the Jaguars.
And head coach Gus Bradley has done a nice job of really implementing what he wants to do on the defensive side of the ball right now. He comes from the Seattle Seahawks, that great defense that they had He was the man who was responsible for the construction of that defense that the Seahawks rode to the Super Bowl last year.
First punt of the game, and it's a good one from Chris Jones, forcing Ace Sanders all the way back to the 15, and the ball came loose. And the Cowboys have recovered. C.J. Spillman falls on it.
These are the types of mistakes that have hurt the Jacksonville Jaguars through the first part of this season. We talked about their youth, and they seem to have these critical mistakes during the course of the game. Ace Sanders just has to field this punt. He takes his eyes off. He feels Dwayne Harris, and he doesn't have the ball secure yet as he starts to look up to see where coverage is.
And then C.J. Spillman over the top on the recovery. Jaguars commit their 20th turnover of the season. Only the Philadelphia Eagles have committed more. So new life for the Cowboys. First and goal from the Jaguars 6.
Dez Bryant at the top of your screen. See if he pulls man-to-man coverage here.
Romo hands it off. This is Murray, and he spins all the way down inside the 2. Brought down by Avery Jones.
That's one of the big things that this offense has created this season. The ability to run the ball inside the red zone, in my opinion, one of the most important things. It's such a challenge to produce touchdowns. Once you get inside the 20-yard line, the advantage goes to the defense. You've got to have that strong running game to have repeated success in the red zone scoring touchdowns.
3 receivers set. Cole Beasley, slot to the right. Dez Bryant, bottom of your screen to the left. Play clock at 2. Cowboys get the snap away. Romo end zone. Looking for Bryant. Demetrius McCray on the coverage.
A lot of people would probably get a little bit nervous one-on-one down in the red zone against Dez Bryant, but not Demetrius McCray. He was hoping that A.J. Green was going to play for the Cincinnati Bengals earlier this season. He plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, which is huge for a young corner. He is not intimidated by any of the top receivers in the NFL.
Hey, he does a really nice job of getting his head back inside and seeing Tony Romo release the ball. That's how he was able to go and make a play on it.
Cowboys empty the backfield. 3rd and goal from the 2. Romo moving to his right. Looking end zone. He throws. Touchdown. Jason Witten.
I'm always amazed that number 82 is able to find his way to an open area on the field when the play breaks down in the red zone.
One-on-one basketball with Witten out there.
Oh, you just see it so many times, and you know that Tony Romo is going to be looking for him. It's just such a nice skill set that he has. It's such a subtle thing. J.T. Thomas again gets caught up stumbling the whole time. Number 82. You got to know where number 82 is once you get inside the red zone, especially when that play breaks down.
He just finds a way.
3rd touchdown of the season for the 9-time Pro Bowler Jason Witten. Bailey adds the extra point. Cowboys capitalize on the special teams turnover committed by the Jaguars. Sights and sounds here in London as we come to you 11 miles to the west of Buckingham Palace. 55th career touchdown for Jason Witten following the Jacksonville turnover. Todman will not take it out. Jaguars start from their 20. Blake Bortles, 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. Record of 22-5 at Central Florida, where he played for one of your former coaches, George O'Leary. You were with George up at Syracuse.
Yes, I was. We shared some nice stories of George O'Leary. So, good reminiscing.
And Blake said he really benefited from O'Leary's system.
A little bit of a semi-pro offense that he was involved with down at Central Florida. I think it's one of the things that challenges these young quarterbacks today.
Play action and then the screen. to Denard Robinson. Gain of just one. Bruce Carter made the tackle.
Some of these young guys coming to the NFL today really struggling playing that spread offense and not really understanding the mechanics, but here's a couple of them for you right here to take a look at and how productive they've been at the start, with the completion percentage being really impressive in my opinion. All of them over 60% right there. But the mechanics of the quarterback position in the NFL, very demanding with the communication from sideline to huddle.
On second down and 9, it's Robinson again. There is a flag. Robinson out to the 27-yard line.
Holding. Offense. Number 86. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
That's on the tight end, Clay Harbor. We check in with Joel Klatt. Joel?
All right, Kenny, let's go up to Detroit. And, of course, Megatron has missed 3 straight games, but he's back. Matthew Stafford, 49 yards to Calvin Johnson. Detroit with a 10-0 lead over Miami early. Back to London, Kenny, Moose, and Goose.
Thanks, Joel. Lions with a big win in this stadium 2 weeks ago.
Oh, tremendous comeback, down 21-0 to the Atlanta Falcons. Come all the way back to get that victory, 22-21.
Second down at 19 following the penalty, as that pass is broken up and nearly picked off by Orlando Scandrick.
Orlando Scandrick trusts his instincts as a cornerback. He does a tremendous amount of prep. He breaks you down by formation, down in distance, and you've got to trust what you see. You see that right there coming off of his man, making the break to deflect the pass. That's the second time we've seen a defender. Sterling Moore did it earlier. Coming off of their coverage, they must be locking onto. Blake Bortles has got to be careful. Are you starting to stare down your receivers because we've got other defenders coming off of coverage to make plays?
Bortles has thrown a league-high 13 picks over his first 6 starts. On the screen, this is Jordan Todman. Stopped 5 yards shy of the marker, so the Jaguars will punt it away, chased down by Henry Melton. So here comes Brian Anger and the punting unit. They love watching all of the kicks, the field goal attempts, the extra points, the kickoffs, and the punts here in London.
Now, Brian Anger, Josh Scobie, Chris Jones, Dan Bailey, they're rock stars over here when the games are played in the UK.
Punting from his own 15. Terrific kick, forcing Harris back to the Cowboys 15. Now he returns it out across the 25-yard line. Dakota Watson, the tackle on special teams. Well, do you want more excitement? Fox and Fox Sports 1 are the place to turn Saturday for a full day of conference rivalries, including games with playoff implications as Washington takes on 19th ranked Arizona and number 6 TCU squares off against Kansas. It all begins at 3 Eastern on Fox, Fox Sports 1, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
It's going to be tough for me on that last game there, Kenny, being a local guy there with North Texas close by. But a high school friend, Sean Kugler, the head coach of the Miners out at Texas El Paso.
Formerly coach of the NFL with the Steelers and the Bills. Romo has started the game 5 of 7. The toss to Dunbar, and then the end around, it's Dwayne Harris. But Harris is tackled from behind by Dwayne Krantz. Loses a couple on the play.
That's a good play by Ryan Davis because he pushed Dwayne Harris back deep enough to kind of disrupt this play. A lot of times you get down the chase, he recognizes it, now he flattens back and pushes upfield. Doesn't make the tackle, but enough of a stumble to allow his teammate Dwayne Krantz to get in there and make the play.
Time winding down in this first quarter here at Wembley. Coming into this game, Jaguars had actually outscored their opponents in the first quarter this season. So Dallas able to capitalize on the only turnover of the game. Cowboys lead the Jaguars here at Wembley, 10-7 after 1. Welcome back. Dallas Cowboys lead the Jacksonville Jaguars 10-7 as we get set to start the second quarter here at Wembley, which opened in 2007 on the site of the original Wembley Stadium, built in 1923 and then demolished 11 years ago. empty backfield as Dunbar shifted into the slot left. And Romo's pass is caught. First reception of the game for Dez Bryant out to the 35.
And important to get him involved early in this game. He only one first quarter catch over the last 4 games. He's one of those guys that really kind of feeds off that when you get him the ball early and he feels like he's a part of the game plan.
3rd down and 1. Cowboys send in an extra blocker, number 78, Jeremy Parnell, along with 2 tight ends, Witten and Hanna.
This is the beef line right here. All the big guys up on the line of scrimmage.
Here's the fullback, Tyler Klutz, in as well. On 3rd and 1, Murray picks up a first.
Exactly what you said, Darryl. Once he gets going downhill, he's hard to stop.
Yeah, because Tyler Klutz is going to the outside as his fullback, the lead blocker, but he's just going to hit this straight up the middle. He's going to bail from his fullback. He takes that first running lane. Everything gets chopped off on the backside, understands down and distance and getting north and south.
Darryl giving the fullback some love. Tyler Klutz celebrating his 30th birthday today here in London. On 1st down, here's Murray. 55 yards on the ground for DeMarco Murray already, and we are not even 2 minutes into the 2nd quarter.
Well, Jason talked to us about, we got to throw the ball to Dez. That's our most important thing. I may differ with him a little bit. I think it's more important to turn around and hand DeMarco Murray the ball. When Dallas got on that 6-game winning streak, DeMarco Murray was the person that everybody was trying to stop. That offensive line was coming off the ball. They were controlling the flow of the game.
Here's Murray again. He slips on 2nd and 5.
Yeah,
this time game's just 1.
Those defensive linemen, they wear down after a while, Darryl. You get them run. Those offensive linemen just keep coming at you, and it might not show in the 1st or 2nd quarter, but as the game goes on, it wears on you. And once those big guys, get wore down, they can't recover.
Total yards couldn't be much closer, but the Jaguars committed the game's only turnover, which led to the Cowboys' touchdown. 3rd down and 4. Bryant shifts to the left. Cowboys must get to midfield. Romo on 3rd down to the outside. And it is broken up. Getting a hand in is McCray. Pass intended for Terrence Williams.
I tell you, he's fun to watch. He's a young guy, 2nd-year corner, small school, Appalachia State. And just watch him out here. Good footwork. Good play back on the football. You can see Gus Bradley there on the sideline cheering him on. Had a lot of nice things to say about Demetrius McCray.
Jones will punt for the 2nd time. Remember, Sanders committed the turnover on his first return attempt. Here's Sanders from the 3. Eludes a tackle. Out across the 20 and tripped up. Ace Sanders takes it out to the 27. 24 yards on the return. Longest punt return by a Jacksonville Jaguar this season.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Burger King. For a limited time, get 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49. And by Exodus Gods and Kings, December 12th, only in theaters.
We all had some fun on the London Eye this week.
A lot higher once you're in that the top of that car than it looks from the ground. I'm not a big fan of heights. A little bit high there. And there's Rolando McClain. Now, he's got that parka over top. Jason Garrett said he's one of our best leaders on the defensive side, one of the best playmakers. Maybe not a good sign for Cowboy fans to see that parka on the sideline.
Here's Denard Robinson. And he loses the yard on 1st down as he's tackled by the longtime Jaguar, Jeremy Mincy. Now some extracurricular activity. There's Mincy, spent 8 seasons with the Jaguars. Also played in the Super Bowl with Denver last season after he was released by Jacksonville. Second down and 11. Robinson again. Denard Robinson out to the 28. Brought down by Hitchens, gain of 3.
Nice job by Jack Crawford getting some quick penetration, though. Making Denard Robinson make a decision deep in the backfield on that play.
Jack Crawford, number 58 for the Cowboys. Born and grew up right here in London. Moved to New Jersey in the 11th grade. Originally a basketball player. And then played football at Penn State. Third down and 8. Play clock is at 2. And Bortles is forced to use the second Jacksonville timeout of this first half. Early second quarter with the Cowboys leading the Jaguars 10-7. Wednesday on The Ultimate Fighter, the prelims come to a dramatic end as the final 2 fighters enter the cage looking to advance to the quarterfinals. Don't miss an all-new, hard-hitting episode of The Ultimate Fighter Wednesday at 10 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Those girls in Ultimate Fighter, boy, they fight hard. Sometimes they fight even better than the guys do. They are mad.
You know Goose will be tuning in.
Absolutely.
Third down and 7 for Bortles and the Jaguars following the timeout. Jacksonville must get to the 36-yard line. Pressure on Bortles. Down he goes. It's the ex-Jaguar Mincy along with Barry Church.
I like the change-up after the timeout. Dallas was showing blitz in the A-gaps. Blake Bortles calls timeout when they come back out. Now they show a single blitzer in the A-gap. You're going to get pressure here, and you get pressure here. So they're going to collapse you from both edges. Nice change-up during that timeout by Rod Marinelli's defense.
So Mincy and Church share the sack. Anger waiting back at his 7-yard line. Taken by Harris at the 27. 8-yard return to the 35. 52-yard punt. The sack of Bortles, Mincy, and Church. Cowboys by 3. Ten-7 lead for the Cowboys here in London. And Tony Romo's return after sitting out last week's loss to Arizona from the 35. The handoff to Murray. And he is wrapped up by Geno Hayes, gain of just 1.
Well, a lot of common links in this game today. Gus Bradley, mentored by Monty Kiffin and Rob Marinelli during the course of his coaching career as he was moving up the ranks. So there's a lot of familiarity between these offenses with the defenses that they're going to be following. There's Monty Kiffin, a consultant upstairs for the Dallas Cowboys, and Monty Kiffin was responsible for bringing Gus Bradley into the NFL in 2006 to Tampa Bay and told everybody that this guy is special. He's unique.
Romo on 2nd and 9, complete to Witten for a Cowboys first down across midfield.
And I really felt coming into the game with the concern about Tony Romo's health at the quarterback position and how was that offensive line going to handle that. I watched Seattle-Dallas as I got ready to do the Seattle-St. Louis game. The Dallas offensive line dominated Seattle that day. They are very familiar with this defense. Tyron Smith, one of only for the 3rd time in the history of the NFL, NFC Offensive Player of the Week as an offensive lineman. That's how dominant that group was against that Seattle defense.
Here's Murray on first down. And Murray inside the Jaguars 40 to the 37 as another Cowboys first down, a gain of 12.
And they throw so many different ways to run the football at you. You can see inside, outside zone. You'll see old school power where you're pulling interior linemen, kicking out and wrapping around on the outside. And right there, another one. You've got offensive linemen shifting, moving to the outside, creating the running lane for DeMarco Murray.
Balanced offensive attack. You mentioned earlier, Darryl, 2 offensive linemen return to the Cowboys starting lineup today. Left guard Ron O'Leary and the right tackle Doug Free as Murray spins. And is brought down at the 34 by the ex-Seahawk Dez Bryant. To Los Angeles, Joel Klatt. Joel.
All right, Kenny, let's go to New Orleans. One of the bright young stars in the league does it again. Brandon Cooks deep down the seam from Drew Brees. 31-yard TD. 14-10 49ers still in the lead, but the Saints marching back to London. Kenny, Moose, and Goose.
Thanks, Joel. And coming into this game, Brandon Cooks and Allen Robinson of the Jaguars tied for the league lead in receptions by rookies this season, both having terrific years. Second down and 8 for the Cowboys. From the 35. Romo dumps it off to Bryant. And Dez Bryant has a first down and more. Inside the 10, the 5 still going. Touchdown. 35 yards, Romo to Bryant, who did the rest.
Well, it all starts with protection up front, and the Jaguars are going to bring a blitz into the middle, handled perfectly by Travis Frederick and DeMarco Murray. Watch them clean up this cross blitz right here. Give Tony Romo the clean pocket. He finds Dez Bryant on the underneath route, and now this is just all Dez. He is so physical in the open field. Look at the run to get into the end zone. Runs through the entire Jaguar secondary.
40th time Romo and Bryant combined on a touchdown in 4.5 seasons. 7th TD this season for Bryant. Cowboys lead by 10.
Today's game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Find the best deals at pizzahut.com.
10-point lead for the Dallas Cowboys. 5 plays, 65 yards. Romo to Bryant.
Just so impressive in all phases of the game as a wide receiver. Great at the point of the catch. You saw on that touchdown run how difficult he is to bring down in the open field.
Todman on the return. Jeff Heath the tackle. Todman stopped at the 16-yard line. Well, the Jaguars get off to a good start. 80-yard touchdown drive on their first possession, but since then, a special teams turnover. Only 9 yards on 6 plays.
Yeah, and again, you build that positive momentum. It was a very impressive opening drive, but in those last 2 series, it's a lot of things that are within the control of the Jacksonville players. They're having the critical mistakes, penalties.
On the slant, it's Allen Robinson. And Robinson has a Jaguars first down, gain of 11.
We talked about the youth of this team, but they've got a couple of young receivers on the outside. Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns having really nice seasons.
Now Denard Robinson dives forward to the 28.
We talked about them struggling on the last 2 series. Let's come out and try something different. Yeah, it's not working. Let's go no huddle. Let's control the flow at the line of scrimmage.
3 receivers set, second down at 9. Bortles looking for Allen Robinson. No flags. Sterling Moore on the coverage.
Good job by Denard Robinson crossing formation to pick up this blitz. This is not as easy as it looks. Dallas really starting to challenge Blake Bortles with the blitz. That first series they kind of just rushed for, took his offense right down the field for the touchdown. Since then, Rod Marinelli electing to add people, a little zone drop, trying to confuse the young QB.
Empty backfield, third down and 9. Jaguars must get to the 37 for a first down. Bortles a pump fake, under pressure being chased by Henry Milton. He throws and it's out of bounds. Todman out of bounds, so the Jaguars will punt it away.
A lot of talk about the signing of Henry Melton in the offseason, and he's finally starting to show why. Working from the inside here, nice arm over, good pursuit.
Anger back to punt for the 3rd time. Harris back deep for the Cowboys. Will lead by 10. Harris waiting, takes it out to 24. And it's brought down at the 29-yard line by Dakota Watson. 49-yard punt. 7 on the return. From Wembley, Cowboys lead by 10. Return man Dwayne Harris helped off the field following the punt return.
I tell you, he is one of those guys who you take for granted. You don't realize how many things he does for your team until he's out of the lineup. Good in the open formations as a wide receiver, a great returner, great core special teams guy. So that's a tough loss for Dallas if Dwayne Harris can't make it back out.
Cowboys start from the 30 off the fake to Murray. Romo to the outside. And the catch is made for a first down by Dez Bryant. 17-yard completion.
Nice route by Dez Bryant. Tremendous separation at the top of that route. And let's check back in on Tony Romo, see how the functionality of the quarterback position is. He has not shown any signs of the fractured transverse process being anything that's going to hinder him this afternoon.
Well, that Jacksonville defensive line needs to find a way. The whole defense needs to find a way to put a little pressure and move him around the pocket, put a little pressure on him. Right now, he's just standing in that pocket, looking downfield, making throws.
Romo 9 of 12 with 2 touchdown passes. This is Murray. And when we spoke with Tony Romo yesterday, he said, I was sore early in the week, slept 6 hours on the plane ride. As we mentioned, he said, I've been able to manage it, and I envision playing the entire game.
Well, in the organization of the Dallas Cowboys, they've been able to kind of track this injury 6 times. It's happened to 6 individual players that people know, and it's been the same scenario every time. After the injury, they went back into the game and finished the game. They missed the following week and then returned the week after that. Exactly what Tony Romo is doing with his recovery. The exact same phase as everybody they had talked to that they had experienced this injury before.
All right, 6 over the course of 25 years, and none of those 6 missed more than 1 full game. Wing to the Jaguars, 47. A.T. Thomas made the tackle, a gain of 5.
Well, we know the history of Tony Romo and his back injuries, and this is a completely separate injury. It in no way is related to the disc issue that he had at the end of last season or impacted by the surgery that he had in the offseason. This is completely different.
Well, the good thing about it also, with the bye week coming up, it's coming out perfect time for Tony to go and get it 2 weeks off, rest up, and we'll make a nice run there towards the end of the season.
Right, both teams with bye next week, Coos, following the trip home from London. 3rd down and 4. Romo steps up to the outside. It's Murray, but not nearly enough. Shoved out of bounds by McCray, so the Cowboys will punt it away.
A little bit of pressure there for the first time in a while by Jacksonville.
And I think Tony felt it too. Nice quick pass to the outside. I think it affected him a little bit. I think Jacksonville needs to go and reevaluate, what they're doing defensively and bring more pressure.
You see Tyler Patman heading into the locker room.
Patman with an intercepted return for a touchdown against Arizona last week. Fair count signal and caught by Sanders at the 12. Well, as part of the league's Salute to Service campaign, the NFL and the Royal British Legion have partnered in honor of Remembrance Day here in the UK to bid on authentic game-worn poppy items, with all proceeds benefiting the Royal British Legion. Visit NFL.com/auction. Today is Remembrance Sunday. In the UK, every year on the 2nd Sunday of November, it is observed. Nations at war back in World War I declared a truce effective at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 1918. 1 million British citizens were killed during World War I. On first down, it is Bernard Robinson. The poppy became a symbol of loss during the war. It was one of the first flowers to bloom in the wastelands of World War I battlefields, and the red color evokes the blood that was shed.
And some impressive viewing of the poppies around London while we were here. Westminster Abbey was one, but the best one, the Towers of London, was just absolutely incredible.
And the Cowboys held a team function at the Tower of London on Friday night. Second down and 11. Catch is made by Cecil Short, and he breaks free across midfield. Finally brought down at the Cowboys' 35-yard line, a 53-yard pass play.
It's so critical to be able to rally and tackle, and you take a short completion and turn it into a long play. Brandon Carr goes for the deflection underneath. The throw by Blake Bortles to Cecil Shorts breaks another tackle and then outruns Anthony Hitchens down the sideline for a big gain.
Longest reception this season by Shorts, 53 yards. From the Dallas 35, it's Robinson. Looks to cut it back inside. Ball comes loose. Robinson coughed it up. Officials trying to get to the bottom of the pile.
Dallas had a tremendous shot at this when it first went on the ground. If Jacksonville gets this back, there's somebody fighting hard at the bottom of that pile.
Yeah, you know how those piles go, Moose. Guys are ripping, trying to do anything they can to try and get possession of that thing on the bottom. Report on Dwayne Harris, also had a knee to the back, expected to return, guys.
All right, thanks, Goose. It is Cowboys football. Second Jaguars turnover.
George Selby in pursuit, across formation, knocks the ball loose from Denard Robinson. Good hustle. One of the things that Rod Marinelli preaches to his guys is hustling to the football. He'll stop the film during the course of game review.
Early in the field is a fumble, recovered by Dallas. 1st and 10, change of possession.
And if you don't show in that film, you get written down for a loaf. So you'll see this Dallas, one of the cornerstones of this Dallas defense is pursuit and hustle to the ball. Good things happen. You see there, George Selby hustling down the line, punches it out. His teammates who are in pursuit as well, able to get the recovery.
Barrett Church on the recovery. Rod Marinelli also brought in footballs on springs attached to the walls of the defensive meeting rooms at the Cowboys practice facility, and players have to tap that football and get their hands on the football, the defensive players, every time they walk by.
Like punching the clock in and punching the clock out when you go to work.
So the Cowboys take over. It's Murray on 1st down. Now, all turnovers are automatically reviewed, so the Cowboys, Barrett Church, coming up on the recovery. 2.5 remaining second quarter, with the Cowboys leading by 10.
And it's so hard to get that clear recovery at the bottom of the pile. So, you know, these other coaches, Gus Bradley, with maybe the opportunity considering throwing that, but he can't do it because it's going to be reviewed upstairs.
On 2nd down, Romo looking for Bryant. He makes the catch, and there is a flag. Wayne Crotts defending.
You can see Dez Bryant really starting to take over on the outside.
Prior to the pass, holding defense. Number 27, penalties decline. Result of the play, 1st and 10.
And maybe more than a statistical thing, Kenny, is just that momentum that he generates with his style of play.
16-yard reception by Bryant. 2-minute warning. Cowboys on the move. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. 17-7 lead for Tony Romo and the Cowboys following the 2-minute warning. 1st and 10 from the Jaguars 47. Romo on 1st down, looking for Bryant again, with Crotts on the coverage.
Right now, Tony Romo's doing a nice job at the line of scrimmage as well, identifying the blitz of the Jacksonville Jaguars, resetting that play. On that one, recognized what was coming, adjusted things at the line of scrimmage, put enough people in place to be able to cover that blitz to allow Dez Bryant to run the full route and not have to adjust it.
Prior to that incompletion, Romo had completed 6 straight. Dwayne Harris back on the field. Split wide to the left. Second down and 10. Romo looking right. Now he throws. And it is the 6th catch of the first half for Dez Bryant.
Talked about the performance of this offensive line against Seattle. On these twists, they do a tremendous job. Zach Martin recognizing they pass the game. It's called passing a game. You're going to bump. Guard tackle will bump as those defenders twist and they pass from one player to the other. Dallas does it very, very well.
Cowboys with 2 timeouts. 1:20 to play in the half. As Romo is under pressure and then is knocked to the ground by Sherrod Martin.
But a good job by Tony Romo in that situation, understanding where he is from a health standpoint here and not allowing the defender to be able to take him to the ground physically. Got a little bit of a shove at the end of that, but not nearly what it could have been if he tried to hold that ball and make something out of nothing.
Yeah, Sherrod Martin comes with a little bit of a delay on the outside. I think if he would have just came right off the snap of the ball, he probably would have gotten Tony Romo's face a little bit earlier, could have had a sack.
Now 2nd and 10. On the Jaguars 36. Play clock at 2. Romo over the middle. And the ball comes loose. Cole Beasley made the catch and then lost the football, and the Jaguars have recovered. A lot of commotion at the bottom of the pile, but one of the officials came running in and 3 times signaled Jaguars football.
Again, this is similar. It's been frustrating for us this year. We've had a couple of these scenarios during the course of the season. And as you pointed out, Kenny, all turnovers are under review. But when we get to this point, it's you know, how do we know? You know, what are we seeing with the clear recovery aspect as the officials are reviewing it?
Yeah, Kenny, first they signaled it was Jacksonville's ball. Now they have a huddle trying to figure it out.
And 3 times it was signaled that the Jaguars had it. And we will check in with Mike Pereira in Los Angeles. Mike, what do you make of this?
Well, I make a mess out of this. You know, you point one way and you end up with another decision, but here is the aspect of this play. We know it's a catch, we know it's a fumble, and then it goes into a scrum. You had an official come in and point one way, but they continued to dig, and then when they finally came up with the ball, then they signaled the other way. So the question's got to be, you know, did that first signal by that first official?
By Jacksonville. Change of possession.
All right, thanks, Mike. And you heard the announcement from the referee, John Parry. It will be Jaguars football.
And one of the things we're losing sight of here is Josh Evans, number 26, is standing away from the pile with the football in his hand, Mike.
Yeah, and that's the issue here is, do you have a clear recovery? Do you see the ball before it goes into this pile, you know, in possession of the team? That's why none of these hardly ever get reversed, even though this is the new rule. You can review who recovers, but there has to be an absolute clear recovery prior to that. And in this one, there really isn't.
And that was tough because as the ball was on the ground, it was Josh Evans and Jason Witten kind of tied up with, you know, with an arm, each one of them with an arm on the ball.
So now the Jaguars with 1 timeout remaining, trailing by 10, pass incomplete, intended for Todman.
Well, let's not lose sight of a tremendous play by the Jaguar defense in that situation. You're on the verge of 20-7, 24-7 at halftime. And, you know, all to their own undoing with the turnovers that they have had here in the first half, the mistakes that they have committed here in the first half. So a great play by the Jaguars defense to force that turnover.
2nd and 10 from the 23. Bortles over the middle.
Great catch.
And it's Allen Robinson out of the 30-yard line, setting up 3rd down and 3.
I mean, his momentum is carrying him one way. Look at this. Look at the reach back. Look at him keep that ball. Doesn't even go to the ground. That's impressive by Allen Robinson.
2nd round pick out of Penn State. Bortles on 3rd and 3. And that pass is broken up by J.J. Wilcox. So the Jaguars, following the Dallas turnover, go 3 and out.
Little stick route there, get beyond the distance for the first down, and you can see J.J. Wilcox kind of drawing a line in the sand right there. Reads that route very well, able to make the deflection.
Wayne Harris shaken up on his last return. Re-entered the game on offense and is back deep for the Cowboys. Punt bounces out of bounds, so with 31 seconds remaining, we go to Fort Benning, Georgia to find out what's coming up at halftime.
Coming up at half, we'll catch you up on all the highlights from the early games.
Did Big Ben throw another 6 touchdowns?
We'll find out at halftime.
We look forward to it. The Maneuver Center, Fort Benning, Georgia. Cowboys, 2 timeouts, 31 seconds on the clock. Turned the ball over moments ago, but then the Dallas defense forced a 3 and out.
Kicker Dan Bailey has been such a weapon for this Cowboy offense. Interesting to see what Jason Garrett wants to do here offensively.
From the 32 on first down, Romo firing downfield for Bryant. He's got it. Dez Bryant inside the 15, the 10, to the end zone. Touchdown. 68 yards.
You're going to be second-guessing yourself in that situation. A little over 30 seconds left in the half at the snap of the ball. And a great release by Dez Bryant. He wins that route off the release on the line of scrimmage. And immediately in that situation, Dwayne Gratz is in chase position. And Jonathan Cyprien cannot get over there in time. Dez Bryant is taking the game over on the outside here in the first half for the Cowboys.
His second touchdown reception, as Romo talks about it with the referee, John Parry. 68-yard connection. Third touchdown pass of the first half for Tony Romo. Bailey, the extra point. Cowboys lead by 17.